I heard James tell our daughter that money doesn't grow on trees while I was standing in the kitchen transferring another $50 into her cafeteria account. Emma, you need to understand the value of what I provide for this family, he said from the dining room, his voice carrying that particular tone of paternal wisdom he'd perfected over the years. I know, Dad, Emma said quietly. I'm grateful. You should be, James continued. Do you know how hard I work so you and your brother can have lunch money every week? So you don't have to pack sandwiches like some kids? I stood at the counter staring at my phone screen, watching the automatic payment confirmation appear. $50 deposited into Emma Davidson's cafeteria account. From payment source, Jennifer Davidson checking account 4782. The same confirmation I'd been receiving every Monday morning for the past 6 years. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. Then I saved a screenshot, just like I'd been doing for the past 3 months, ever since I'd started paying attention to the things James said when he thought I wasn't listening. That conversation happened on a Sunday afternoon in late September. By October, I had a folder on my phone with 17 screenshots, each one showing the same thing. My name, my account, my money. Every single week. I'd set up automatic payments when Emma started middle school because I was organized and James was forgetful. It seemed practical at the time. I handled most of the household logistics anyway, the bills and appointments and permission slips and school forms. James handled his career, his networking events, his important meetings. Division of labor, I'd told myself. Partnership. Except somewhere along the way, James had started taking credit for things he didn't do. It started small. Telling his mother he'd arranged the parent-teacher conferences I'd scheduled, mentioning to neighbors that he'd organized the carpool rotation I'd coordinated, casually referencing the volunteer work he'd signed us up for, work I actually performed while he golfed on weekends. I'd noticed it but dismissed it as harmless exaggeration. Married couples share credit, I'd reasoned. What difference did it make who got acknowledged? But the lunch money thing felt different. He wasn't just taking credit, he was actively teaching our children that he provided something I was actually providing. He was rewriting reality in real time, and Emma and our son Lucas were believing it. That felt like something worse than credit stealing. That felt like erasure. I started paying closer attention after that Sunday. I listened when James talked to the kids, really listened, cataloging every claim he made. I provided your school supplies. False. I'd ordered everything online and wrapped it for back to school. I make sure you have new clothes each season. False. I took them shopping every few months while James worked. I paid for your music lessons. False. Automatic debit from my account set up 2 years ago. I got you those phones you're always on. Technically true, but only because he'd used our joint credit card that I paid off each month from my income. I worked from home as a medical transcriptionist, a job James described to people as my little side project, despite the fact that I earned $63,000 a year. His salary was higher, yes, but mine wasn't decorative. It paid for things, specific, documentable things, like lunch money. The breaking point came in early November during parent-teacher conferences. James had actually come to this one, rearranging a client meeting because Lucas's math teacher had specifically requested both parents attend. We sat in those tiny chairs designed for children while Mrs. Patterson explained that Lucas was struggling, not with the material, but with organization and follow-through. He's bright, she said, looking between us, but he's not completing homework. He seems to think things will just work out without effort. I make sure he has everything he needs, James said, leaning forward earnestly. I provide all his supplies, a good home environment, support. Mrs. Patterson nodded politely. That's wonderful. But Lucas needs to understand that having resources isn't the same as doing the work. Support and actual effort are different things. She wasn't talking about James. She was talking about Lucas, but I felt the words land in my chest like stones. On the drive home, I asked James a question. "Do you know which account the cafeteria payments come from?" He glanced at me, confused by the non sequitur. "What?" "The kids' lunch money. Do you know where it comes from?" "Our account, obviously," he said. "I provide their lunch money every week." "Right." I stopped talking. That night, after James fell asleep, I went through our banking records systematically. 6 years of cafeteria payments, every single one from my personal checking account, not our joint account. Automated transfers I'd set up and maintained week after week, month after month, year after year. Thousands of dollars, all documented, all traceable, all mine. I thought about Mrs. Patterson's words. Support and actual effort are different things. Having resources isn't the same as doing the work. I'd been supporting James's narrative about himself for years, letting him claim effort he hadn't expended, allowing him to build a reputation as a provider while I quietly did the actual providing. What was I teaching our children? I didn't confront James, not yet. Instead, I started documenting everything with the same attention to detail I brought to medical transcription. Every claim he made, I verified. Every story he told about his contributions, I cross-referenced with reality. I built a spreadsheet. Column 1, James's claim. Column 2, actual source. Column 3, evidence. It was damning. In mid-November, Riverside Middle School held its annual Family Fun Night, a fundraiser disguised as entertainment, where parents paid to watch their kids participate in relay races and talent shows while eating mediocre pizza. I went alone because James had a networking dinner. I stood near the cafeteria watching Emma compete in a 3-legged race when someone tapped my shoulder. "Mrs. Davidson?" I turned. It was Carol Brennan, the cafeteria manager, a cheerful woman in her 50s who knew every student by name and dietary restriction. "Hi, Carol," I said. "How are you?" "Good, good. I just wanted to say thank you." "For what?" "For being so reliable with the payments. 6 years, never missed a week, always on time. You'd be surprised how many parents we have to chase down. It makes my job so much easier when the automatic payments just work." She smiled warmly. "Emma and Lucas are lucky to have such an organized mom." I felt something crack open in my chest. "Thank you," I managed. "That means a lot." "Of course," Carol continued. "I actually mentioned you to Principal Hayes the other day. We were reviewing which families never miss payments, and your name has been at the top of that list since Emma was in 6th grade. You're a model for what we wish all parents would do." She patted my arm and walked away to help a student struggling with a milk carton. I stood there feeling lightheaded. 6 years, never missed a week. My name at the top of the list. I pulled out my phone and opened the parent portal for the cafeteria system, something I checked weekly but had never really examined. I clicked on transaction history, page after page of payments, each one labeled clearly: payment source, Jennifer Davidson, payment method, automated transfer. Every single entry for 6 years in my name, not joint, not shared, mine. I took screenshots of everything. Then I texted Emma, who was across the gym with her friends. "Hey, sweetie, random question. Can you log into your cafeteria account on your phone?" A minute later, she replied, "Yeah, why?" "Can you check your payment history? Just curious about something." "Okay," she wrote, followed by the confused emoji. I watched her from across the room, saw her pull out her phone, saw her tap and scroll, saw her face change. She looked up, scanning the crowd until she found me. Our eyes met across the gymnasium. I saw the question in her expression, the confusion, the dawning realization. She walked over slowly, her phone clutched in her hand. "Mom?" she said quietly. Why does it say your name on all my lunch payments? Because I'm the one who pays for them, I said simply. But Dad said, she started, then stopped. Her eyes widened. Dad said he provides our lunch money. I know what Dad said. Emma looked down at her phone, scrolling through transaction after transaction, all bearing my name. How long? All of it, I said. Since you started 6th grade. Every week. Automatically from my account. She was quiet for a long moment. Does Dad know? I don't think he's ever checked, I said. I think he just assumes. Or he wants us to assume. Why didn't you say anything? Emma asked, and there was something in her voice that sounded almost hurt. That's a good question, I said. I'm asking myself the same thing. Lucas appeared then, holding a slice of pizza. What are you guys talking about? Emma turned to him. Log into your cafeteria account. What? Why? Just do it. He rolled his eyes but pulled out his phone, tapping with one hand while holding pizza with the other. After a moment, he looked up. Okay, what am I looking for? Check who pays for your lunch, Emma said. He scrolled. It says Mom. He looked at me. Is that weird? I've been paying for both of your lunches for 6 years, I said, every week. Dad didn't know that? Lucas asked. Dad has told you repeatedly that he provides your lunch money, I said. That he works hard so you can eat at school, remember? Lucas's face changed as he understood. Oh, yeah, Emma added quietly. We sat down at a nearby table, just the three of us, while the fun night continued around us. I want you both to understand something, I said. I'm not angry at you. You believed what your father told you, because children should be able to trust their parents. That's normal. But I need you to know the truth. I work. I earn money. I contribute to this family financially and in every other way. A lot of what you think your father provides, I actually provide. Like what? Lucas asked. Your school supplies, your clothes, your music lessons, your phones, your lunch money, most of your birthday presents, the family vacation we took last summer. I could keep going. Emma was staring at her phone. There are hundreds of payments here. All from you? All from me, I confirmed. Why does Dad say he does it? Emma asked. Her voice was small. I think, I said carefully, that your father has convinced himself that because he earns a larger salary, everything that gets paid for is somehow his doing, even when it literally comes from my account, from my work, from my effort. That's not fair, Lucas said. No, I agreed, it's not. What are you going to do? Emma asked. I'm going to talk to your father, I said, and I'm going to make sure he stops teaching you a false narrative about who provides what in this family. We stayed at the fun night for another hour, but something had shifted. I saw it in the way Emma looked at things differently, noticed things. When another parent complimented the kids' new winter coats, Emma said, "My mom bought these," instead of just saying thank you. When Lucas's friend asked about his new saxophone, he said, "My mom pays for my lessons," very deliberately. They were recalibrating, learning to see the invisible labor, the uncredited contributions, the automatic transfers that happened silently every week, without fanfare or acknowledgement. James came home at 10:30 that night, loosening his tie, smelling like expensive wine and self-satisfaction. How was the fun night? He asked. Illuminating, I said. He looked at me, catching something in my tone. Everything okay? Sit down, I said. We need to talk. He sat on the couch, suddenly wary. What's going on? I opened my laptop and turned it toward him, displaying my spreadsheet. Column 1, column 2, column 3. Claim, reality, evidence. I've been documenting something, I said, for the past 2 months. Every time you tell the kids you provide something, I've been checking whether that's actually true. James's face went from confused to defensive in seconds. This is ridiculous. Is it? I asked, because according to the cafeteria records, I've paid for Emma and Lucas's lunch for 6 years, every single week, automatically from my personal account. But you've told them repeatedly that you provide their lunch money. You've made it part of your lectures about responsibility and gratitude. He opened his mouth, closed it. I kept going. You told Emma you bought her new laptop. I bought it. You told Lucas you pay for his music lessons, automatic debit from my account for 2 years. You told your mother you arranged their dental appointments. I scheduled them, took them, paid the co-pays. You took credit for the volunteer work at their school that I actually do. Are you seriously keeping score? James demanded. No, I said. I'm correcting the record. There's a difference. This is insane, he said, standing up. You're my wife. We're a team. What I earn, you earn. What you pay for, I pay for. It's all family money. Then why do you specifically tell the kids that you provide things I actually provide? I asked. If it's all family money, why take individual credit? Why not say we provide it? Why say I? He didn't have an answer. I closed the laptop. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to stop telling our children that you provide things you don't provide. You're going to stop taking credit for work I do. And you're going to have a conversation with Emma and Lucas where you acknowledge that I contribute financially and practically to this family in specific, significant ways. Or what? James asked, his voice sharp. Or I show them this spreadsheet, I said calmly. All of it. Every false claim, every piece of evidence. I let them see exactly how much of their life comes from my work, my money, my effort. And I let them decide how they feel about the fact that you've been lying to them. I'm not lying, James protested. Exaggerating maybe, but not lying. The cafeteria account has my name on 6 years of payments, I said. You told them you provide that. That's not exaggeration, that's fabrication. We sat in silence for a long moment. You really made a spreadsheet? James asked finally. His voice had changed, softer, uncertain. I really did, I said, because I needed to know if I was imagining it, if I was being petty or oversensitive or keeping score unfairly. But James, it's not imagining it. You've been erasing my contributions and replacing them with yourself, and our kids believe it. He sat back down, and for the first time, he looked ashamed. I didn't realize, he said quietly. You did, I said. Maybe not consciously, but you did. The next evening, James sat down with Emma and Lucas in the living room. I sat nearby, watching. I need to apologize to both of you, he began. I've been taking credit for things your mother does. Things she pays for, arranges, and provides. Like what? Lucas asked. Like your lunch money, James said. I didn't pay for that. Your mom has been paying for it automatically from her account for years. I told you it was me. That was wrong. Emma and Lucas exchanged glances. What else? Emma asked. A lot of things, James admitted. School supplies, music lessons, clothes. I let you both think I was providing all of it, when the truth is your mother and I both contribute, and she does a lot more of the daily work than I've given her credit for. Why? Lucas asked simply. James looked at me, then back at the kids. Because I wanted you to see me a certain way, he said. As a provider, as someone important, and I wasn't paying attention to how that made your mother invisible. That's not fair to Mom, Emma said. No, James agreed. It's not. I'm sorry. The apology wasn't perfect. It didn't undo 6 years of false narratives, but it was a start. Over the following weeks, things shifted slowly. James started using we instead of I when talking about family expenses. He started acknowledging my work as work, not a hobby. He started asking what I'd paid for instead of assuming. And the kids started noticing, started saying thank you for specific things, started recognizing the invisible labor that had always been there. One Monday morning in December, I got the familiar notification: $50 deposited into Emma Davidson's cafeteria account. Emma saw me looking at my phone. "Lunch money?" she asked. "Lunch money," I confirmed. "Thanks, Mom," she said simply. "You're welcome," I said. It was a small moment. Ordinary, unremarkable, but it mattered because she saw me now. They both did. Not invisible, not assumed, seen. James walked into the kitchen and poured coffee. "Did you transfer the cafeteria money?" he asked. "I did," I said. "Thank you," he said, and he meant it. I nodded. We weren't fixed, we weren't perfectly balanced, but we were real. I'd stopped being invisible infrastructure. I'd become a person who did work that mattered, work that was seen, work that was named. And my children knew the truth. That was enough.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.